Good evening and welcome to Douglar Politics. SHAMFA Cujo and Brian Lewis. Y'all calling or y'all are saying that you too are going to rally around our athletes at the Olympic Games and you're calling on us to rally around. Yes, we could rally. We are the fans, we are the supporters, we are the patriots, we love our athletes. We could rally and send prayers and so on. But SHAMFA Cujo and Brian Lewis, all your work is not to rally. All your work was to prepare the athletes to perform. All your work was to make sure they get vaccine early in January, February, so they could get out there and compete, so they could get out there and train. All your job was to make sure they get enough funding and go in the cabinet over the last 6 years and make sure you get the budget back up to where Anil had it at 140 million and don't cut it down to 10 million. Brian Lewis, you were supposed to advocate for the funds for the athletes, take care of them, get their coaches paid, get their trainers paid for their physiotherapy, pay for their surgery, for their injuries, get them better equipment, better uniforms, like how I got javelins for Keshon in 2012. That was your work. You are not a rally. You are to do your work, SHAMFA Cujo and Brian Lewis. So leave the rallying for we now, the fans. We go rally them, we go support them, right? But all you was to do your work. Both all you need to resign one time. Because listen to this. This is my former female football captain who was one oomph away from taking Trinidad and Tobago to the World Cup for the first time. Maylie Atin Johnson, a woman who put blood, sweat and tears, get injured playing for Trinidad and Tobago, play injured, fight, train, push herself, push her troops. Listen to what Maylie Atin, leave it up man, let me read it man. Maylie Atin Johnson posted yesterday. Thank you to all our athletes who always put our country first. Thank you to all our athletes who represent our country with pride and joy. Thank you to all our athletes who give their heart and soul for our country in these uncertain times. I salute you, says Maylie Atin Johnson. These athletes were not only fighting against a pandemic, but they were also fighting against poor administration, lack of resources, but most importantly, against a government who does not care about sports. While we treat sports as a pastime, the entire world treats it as an investment. Not until the heads that understand the true power and benefits of sport, it's only then we will start competing consistently with the best of them. Invest in sport. So Maylie Atin Johnson, understand, SHAMFA Cujo and Brian Lewis, your work was not to rally and clap. Your work was to fight for athletes, get resources, get the training, get the science, get the methods, get the competition, get the vaccines, get them out there, get them to train during the pandemic, get the government to allow the athletes to train and move. That was all your work. Not to come now and hey, let me rally. All you is not cheerleaders. If all you want to pump, I will give all you to pump. Guardian newspaper. Wednesday, August 4th. I'm going to read to you what the Guardian newspaper is saying. TNT must give athletes strong platform too. Talking about the success of Jamaica and so on and so forth. They come down in about the 5th paragraph. Here the Guardian newspaper. The politicians and sporting bodies alike too often offer only lip service towards providing the programs and facilities athletes need to prepare themselves for the big stages. Indeed, there are no real definitive plans and follow-up, with one of the critical elements being a lack of soliciting private sector partnership for a solid sporting plan that will benefit all stakeholders, since government alone cannot do what is needed. So, the Guardian is trying to say, across the board, UNC, PNM, same thing, no investment in sport. The problem, Guardian, is that when you're so myopic and you've got Balizé juice all up in your K-packs, when you're writing your stories with a PNM golden pen and all you can see is PNM, you don't know what existed, because all that mattered to you over the last 6 years is that PNM and Rowley must win because your shareholders needed Rowley to procure without procurement to make themselves richer and get billions. You didn't care about sport, you didn't care about country, you didn't care about policy. Let me give you a clear example, because for you to write that drivel, it means that you didn't understand what was taking place in sport under Kamla Persad-Bissessar. So I'm going to have to remind you, right? First of all, Anil Roberts was the Minister of Sport. Anil Roberts is the highest qualified coach in the Western Hemisphere, level 5 senior, World Swim Coaches Association, World American Swim Coaches Association, Masters, spent 40 years in sport, is a former national athlete in swimming and under-19 football, got a football scholarship and loves all sports, is sport passionate, sport media, sport everything. So number one, there's Anil, and then there's SHAMFA. So that's the start. That's the SHAMFA. Now SHAMFA is looking better since she became Minister of Sport. The top picture is pre-sport and the bottom picture is post-sport. So I'm happy with that for SHAMFA. But sport was in a total mess. So they started with that. And those, put back that map there, that map, that was grounds that were done by Anil Roberts and Kamla Persad-Bissessar across Trinidad and Tobago, with proper running track, walking track, proper drainage, proper grass, Bermuda grass, stands with training session, computer room, audiovisual rooms for coaches to go through video footage with athletes and so on. That's what Anil did. SHAMFA and the PNM have done nothing. Rowley put one ground down in Diego Martin and lock it up from the people because he partner he just play golf with. This is SHAMFA completed grounds. So please, Guardian, when you're talking, don't talk now because you put Rowley in charge and you eliminated Children's Life Fund, education, gate, roads, investment, foreign direct investment, foreign exchange, business, sport, tourism, and sport. You didn't care. You just wanted Rowley. So don't put everything in place. Let me show you what was there and what the PNM under Rowley by putting this lady. And this lady, when she was made Minister of Sport, she posted that when your own dog bites you, you're well bitten. She don't even want to be the Minister of Sport. So that alone should show you where we are, Guardian, but you all didn't realize that because you only write and record and recall and remember when PNM is in charge. So it's only PNM who must govern this country, because when there are other governments, you write a set of nonsense and pretend the other governments don't exist. Number two, infrastructure. Kamla Persad-Bissessar, Velodrome, Aquatic Center, Tennis Center, 89 grounds, 14 other regional grounds across the board, Irwin Park, Sangre Grande, all over, big grounds done. Growth poles. Kamla Persad-Bissessar got the sport into the business end of the budget. In the first 16 minutes, former Minister of Finance would put Larry Hawaii talked about sport being growth pole in Couva. So they had the cricket center, they had the Arthur Bolden Stadium. Kamla Persad-Bissessar put the aquatic center, the cycling velodrome was coming with BMX to be a growth pole so that businesses, malls, offices, health centers, restaurants would have set up there, while we people, all of we people, the children use the facility, good coaching, and people would have come to exercise, and it would have been a growth pole for investment in that area. But they stop all that and the PNM lock it off to even the citizens. They cannot even exercise there now. You see, Guardian, you don't write the truth because your job is not to print the truth and write the truth. You just like to talk stupidness or correcting the record here on Douglar Politics. Sport tourism. When those facilities were built, we also left, Kamla and Anil left a plan there approved by Cabinet for the opening of the aquatic center for George Bovell to swim 100,000 US cash, bring the 15 fastest other than George to go match sprint racing, to be on ESPN live on BBC Sport, Fox Sports and so on, to open that, to show the world the facility that we had, the tennis center. We could not afford Serena Williams to come down, so we were getting McEnroe and Agassi, the older older fellas with Pete Sampras to come and play and do clinics and so on, and fill out the tennis court area and beam it live on ESPN, BBC Sport, Fox Sport, internationally, all over the world, to show people what we had. We were also going to make all of our athletes who are out there at universities across the USA, Canada, and Europe, we are going to make them sport ambassadors, paying them a stipend every month for them to promote Trinidad and Tobago as a sports tourism destination. And every package of teams that they got, they would get a percentage also of revenue, so they could earn money too to aid them in their sporting activities and moving forward. So the country would benefit from their expertise, and we would get every 10,000 people that we would get here annually would add $500 million to the GDP of Trinidad and Tobago. Once we got them here to spend at least 8 days, 7 nights, and 8 days. Okay, that's the planning that was there. PNM come and put this. And you're all talking about UNC and PNM is the same. I taking my time and I sweating. Tobago was going to be a sporting hub. There were going to be festivals of sport. There was going to be a sun festival of sport, including surfing, wind sailing, kite surfing, fishing, all of these parasailing in April when the breeze is strong in Tobago and so on, and bring people in. And then in September, October, November, around there, Tobago would have been a place for training camps also for all other sports, including professional sports. The Dwight York Stadium had already been refurbished for the track. Another 120 million was approved to do the infrastructure underneath. Sports science centers, 2 of them were to be designed, where our doctors and our sports scientists could do research, do analysis, and keep records of all our elite athletes. All coaches could go there for education in the planning and periodization of their workouts across the board, and continue the coach education. Coach international and local coaches would have been, and the education and certification increased, and coach education, coaches would have been given scholarships to go and educate themselves, whether online or actually going. Rural coaching caravan was going on, where coaches who have the expertise were going out looking for talent and sharing knowledge with coaches in the rural areas who would get talent and develop it. Coaches in primary school, we were in the process of putting qualified coaches in every single primary school to prepare athletes at the early level, physical preparation moving forward, and so on. Access to facilities. Kamla Prasad Bisesa and the partnership government said all facilities belong to the people. They for the people, by the people. Therefore, no charging, no lock gate, no nothing. Rowley and them come, lock up all the gate, no access, nothing. To play secondary school football, you have to pay to use your own football stadium and so on. Okay, Guardian? So sport was on the right track, but you put Rowley and send we right back. Funding. Anil got the funding, went in a cabinet with 32 other ministers and argued and got the funding in the NPI vote, which includes Olympic preparation, elite athlete, junior elite athlete, medical help for the athletes, like any athletes that needed surgery and so on, or even our cricketers like Sunil Narayan and Cooper, who needed to adjust their thing down in Australia. Anil and Kamla, the government paid for them to do that and move them on, because they promote the country and that the country is there for them. That's what we did and continued. So 140 million a year also in funding for the 49 NSOs to share up. Not enough for everybody, still needed more. But how much this PNM under Rowley and SHAMFA this? From 140 million annually down to 10 million. And what did Brian Lewis say? Anything? No, he went and screened for PNM. So that's okay. And you all say that this man screened for PNM. PNM still spit him out. And he get, under Kamla, 140 million per year for sport. That wasn't good. He preferred the 10 million because he's a PNM. And you're all talking about sport, this and nothing, no plans, because there are no plans under the PNM. The only plan is to look better. Look, she looking better. I give her. SHAMFA, you really, girl, you really look better. Douglar can't lie. The Spirit of Sport Awards, under Kamala, you had a Spirit of Sport Awards which the athletes used to look forward for, to reward them for their performances. Athletes, coaches, grassroots coaches, young coaches, junior coaches, team coaches, best media picture, best media coverage, all aspects of the sport industry. In the Spirit of Sport Awards, PNM cut that and throw it away. CARICOM Training Center. There was a plan here for Trinidad to be a CARICOM Training Center for all sports where all Caribbean athletes come. They get the sports science, they get the VO2 max, they get the testing, they get the training, then the best facilities. We have the best coaches. We put them in the hotels. The governments of the other CARICOM islands pay for them to be here. An elite training center was here. All of that was in the works. All of that stopped by the PNM. Sport rewards and marketing. We also had talent identification scouts to go out into the communities. Don't mind I go sweat because sporters get passionate. To go out in the communities, look for talent, find it, and put them into the pathways, into the coaches, whatever sport, if they generally track and field, swimming, gymnastics, archery. We also had international, a cabinet note to bring in coaches from China. All they want to do everything with China except do what China does best. Diving, synchronized swimming, archery. We had a cabinet note approved to get coaches from there. All now, the aquatic center finished and open. Not a child has dived or learned to dive there. The best facilities in the Western Hemisphere. But PNM don't use it anyway. Sport management professionals, Kamala and Anil and the UNC were going to put sports management professionals in every sporting organization to help them manage and move their funds, to stop wasting their money and put it in the right path and develop plans and develop 5-year development and strategic plans, help them in the marketing, help them to attract private sector sponsorship also. All of that cat spraddle under the PNM. Grassroots funding, equipment, uniforms across the board, sports days, little community groups, that funding was flowing. When Marlene McDonald asked me a question in the parliament back in 2012, I take 45 minutes to answer. Groups from Shagarama straight up to Toko, Sangre Grande, Maclot, down in Couva, Penal, Barrackpore, all down in Point 14, Labre, across the board, Mayaro, sporting groups from all over getting equipment and having medals, trophies, tents, and so on to encourage sport. We were going also to have a regional corporation games. The 14 regional corporations and the THA would have had their own games with several sports: netball, football, cricket, track and field, basketball, swimming, and they would have come together like an Olympics, a local Olympics, and then all the coaches would have been able to spot talent. This was also going to be done with the primary schools, and we were going to separate the primary schools under 14. Imagine you have under 14 football in primary school. When I was 15, I take O-levels. We had to separate that and identify talent, put coaches in place. We were funding the Pro League and the Super League. 11 million, them cut that down to 2 million. Pro League couldn't even have a full season in the last 4 or 5 years. Kamala Prasad Bisesa was pumping money into football, Super League, Pro League, while the secondary schools league did not have to find money to rent stadium. The Ministry of Sport grassroots football program was there. Cabinet note approved this at PMCD to hire coaches across the country in order to have a technical director, coaches, physiotherapists, sports psychologists, all in all areas, boys and girls football, to unearth talent from every nook and cranny and then link it to the TTFA. That is there, approved, sitting down there. But this PNM do nothing, Guardian. So when you're writing this, you must read this and write and stop talking nonsense, because elections have consequences. We were going to have a professional netball league, build 6 indoor air-conditioned courts, because netball, we were world champions in 1977. We were world champions, and now we're not even in the top 9 in the world. So we needed to get talent to allow our professionals, our girls, to stop working and training. It's too much to go and battle those other girls who just play netball, and then we expect them to go and beat Australia and Scotland and these big sides like South Africa, Australia, New Zealand. No, we needed a professional league that would be funded, and the private sector would have been encouraged to come in the professional netball league. Where the PNM? PNM don't even know what I am talking about. He questioned for the differently able. Differently abled, we were involving and sponsoring horses and horse treatment and therapy for that. And they were also getting involved in Paralympic and Special Olympics. We were going to build a special home for sport for Special Olympians and Paralympians to train and have their own home where they could be respected and focus on their training, their scientific planning, and their performance at the international level to bring glory to Trinidad and Tobago. All of that was there, and you all come and put PNM, Rowley, and Rowley put this. And now you're trying to equivocate between UNC and PNM. All you give me a chance, eh? I go and drink some water, and I come back. That segment went longer than I thought. But you know, it's really disgusting. The newspapers in this country, all have no shame. Y'all give us PNM, y'all give us Rowley, y'all give us Small Pin, y'all give us SHAMFA. Old SHAMFA, good looking SHAMFA, useless to sport, nothing going on, no ideas, no concept, no passion, no knowledge, nothing, no money, not even respect to go in the cabinet to get anything. And then y'all are talking about, oh well, there's nothing going on in sport. There's nothing going on in sport, Guardian, because you put Rowley and Rowley put that, and the PNM don't care about sport, they don't care about the athletes. They send them out in the world to be beaten and battered, and then they want to criticize them. We love the athletes. But when you love something, you have to show you care by pumping resources, pumping investment, showing the athletes that you care about them, and that's what Kamala was doing. Or you come and put this. Look like my girl water, yes? Bless.